from New Orleans, proud 504 baby, okay? I'm a proud New Orleans. Like most black families, I was not, it was a broken family, okay? But I'm an only child. I'm a spoiled brat. Even as an only child, I will say that. I will say my family, my father was a very successful business owner. I've never known him to work for anyone. He owned his own printing company in New Orleans that was well known. He's a very proud guy too. So we kind of like clashed. And even like my grandfather, my mother's, on my mother's side, the same thing. Like all my family has seemed to have been very good entrepreneurs, and I think that's kind of where a lot of that comes from me. My grandfather owned his own construction business, built houses. Like even when Katrina came, he decided to they didn't want to stay in New Orleans anymore because of all the hurricanes. And he went to the country and built his own. And I think he may have been in his 70s. He's 86 now, and that was 12 years ago. It's probably like 70 or something. And he built his own home, beautiful home. So my aunt, same way, my mother. Like everyone in my family on both sides have always been entrepreneurs, and just that. I mean, that's kind of where I came up from. I left New Orleans at a young age, but I always went back every summer. I went to California, then that's how I ended up here in Georgia.
How long have you been out here?
I've been here since I think like 92 or 93, something like that. I left here and then I went back to Cali because I was missing my aunt, who I'm like very close with. She is like, she's been my what do you call it, like inspiration kind of thing. Yeah, she's a psychologist, and that's kind of how I understand. I think a lot about marketing, because marketing is all about psychology, and I'm able to adapt to different people and understand because she's a psychologist. And it's funny because my mom was like her mom, and she was like my mom, So, but in my upbringing, my mother was very, very strict. She was a minister, and it was God. So I was that rebellious child, that rebellious preacher kid.
They say that preacher's kids are the worst.
I wasn't the worst, but I was that one that I'm gonna do what I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. And I'm gonna explore, but I still knew right from wrong. I still had ethics, should I say?
Okay.
But I was kind of like a free spirit too. I was that, you know how they have that one person in the family who's kind of like the free spirit outcast or whatever else or whatever. That was me. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. You don't like it? Oh well, who cares? So that was kind of like me, yeah. So, I mean, that's a little of my upbringing.
Okay, so you went from New Orleans to California to Georgia, and clearly you're still here in Georgia. So what kept you here?
Oh, I left here a few times.
You did?
I left and came back.
What brought you back?
Came back. Every time I went somewhere, it just wasn't that. Nothing's like New Orleans. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay, New Orleans is its own country in the United States. Okay, we have our own culture, our own food, everything. I go home on a regular. Trust and believe that. Okay, you can never take the Orleans out of me. Okay, the Bayou out of me. Okay, I'm Creole to my heart, Bayou to my heart, whatever. But when it comes to Georgia, like I left here and went to California. 3 months later, I was back. You won't go into any other state and see blacks succeeding like we do here in Atlanta. It is a true black Hollywood. Like, there's so many opportunities for us. We run Atlanta, we run the Southeast, and what I do, like, I love helping others, blacks, us, succeed in business, and I see a lot of us like that are starting businesses and not starting the right way, and I would rather see us succeed the right way versus succeed the wrong way and think we're doing it right, and in the end you end up having them people tracking you and tracing you and end up sneaking up behind you, and you keep it real, your ass end up in jail. So
okay, so you came out here, you kind of touched on your aunt inspired you to get into marketing. Is that what actually prompted you to start your own business, or what actually made you kind of like step out and take that leap of faith and be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to start my own company, versus getting caught up in, you know, what we call the trap of a job where you have a dedicated paycheck weekly and stuff like that, and the comfort of knowing that your bills are going to be paid, versus what we call shark infested waters of entrepreneurship and trying to figure out how to live day to day based off, you know, not knowing what's guaranteed. So what actually made you do that? What was the inspiration behind that?
I don't think I was ever had the intention of working for anybody or ever meant to work for anyone. Like I told you, most of my family on both sides, they've owned not most, all of them, they've owned their own business. I've never known my family, the older generation, to really work for anyone. Maybe one or two, not two, one. But they've always, I've always wanted to be in the school of fashion. When I left high school, I went to AIU for fashion marketing, fashion merchandising, fashion marketing. And I always wanted to be the behind the scenes, help businesses or put on fashion shows and things like that. Arts. I've always had a thing for art. Like growing up, I was in art class. I played the piano. I played the violin. I played the flute. Like that was me. But the one time I can remember, the very first time my entrepreneurship really started, I think I was 14, and it was Easter. And I told my mom, I was like, I wanted to go to the Dollar General, and I went to the Dollar General because I wanted to make these Easter baskets before we went to church and sell them, because I wanted to make me some money. I told my mom that my idea, and I wanted to go to the Dollar General. And so we went to I think it was Family Dollar. Yeah, the one with the yellow sign, the yellow and black. Okay, so
Dollar General.
It's a Dollar General. Okay, what's the Family Dollar?
That one's like red.
Oh yeah, no, it's Dollar General. Okay, so we went to the Family Dollar, and I bought all these stuff to make a boy Easter basket, like the little car toys and things, and the basket, and the grass that goes inside of it, and the development stuff. And I made a boy basket and a girl basket. And then I printed out my little list or whatever. And I went to church, and everything was decorated nice and pretty. And I had a list, and I was selling my baskets. So by the time the next week came, I had a whole list of people that I'm selling my baskets to for Easter basket. And that was my first time. That's when my entrepreneurship started. But actually, when I was in Girl Scouts, they used to always, because I was always making the best sales. So, but that was Girl Scout. That was an entrepreneurship. But yeah. So that's when my entrepreneurship had started, and I did really well on that. But when it comes to like fashion, like I was always into fashion. I was always into style. I was always told that, you know, my style, like putting together stuff, the look. I slacked off a little bit, but so when I left school and went to AIU, this is what I wanted to do. And I daydream in art. When I do a vision, like if you see any of my work for videos, advertising, whatever, I create all of that. I get in my car and I blast my music, and listen to music allows me to create. Like I actually see it. Like I don't see words. I remember things in like visual color, how it looks, things like that. And that's marketing. And I guess that's how I love what I do. And I I don't know, being a Scorpio, we kind of like jump around from things to things, but I've always ended up, everything I did ended up in marketing. And what I do now, I actually get a joy out of, like, I don't like being the front scene of anything. I like being the gardener. And when I mean the gardener, I'm behind the scenes, and I plant the seed, and I water it, and I watch my clients' visions and whatever we create and actually grow. And to me, that's marketing. Marketing and branding is telling your story. And because I understand psychology and growing up with my aunt, around my aunt, I'm able to understand people. I think that's part of me. I'm very into astrology too. A Scorpio water sign. We can feel people and understand people, and I'm able to feel and understand like people's story and help bring their story to reality. To me, that's marketing. That's branding. Branding is your story.
Okay, so your story. Let's talk about let's talk about your story. So there was a reason why you wanted to sit down and do this video and kind of share more about yourself with people who are following you. You know, your network, your clients, potential clients, and just women overall, just to kind of keep them inspired, just to know that you can come from a bad experience and turn it into something positive. So speaking of that, what is the experience that you've had that has been, I won't say most traumatic, but that still weighs on you, where you're trying to figure out if you have closure in order to see how you can go about taking that negative and turning it into something positive so that you're helping somebody else get through maybe a similar situation?
My story. My story is so proper. My cousin used to tell me that all the time. Like, my life is like a freaking soap opera. Like, if I tell you everything I've been through, you'd be like, this girl lying. She's a compulsive liar. No. I got people living proof of it. I decided to sit down and tell my story for one. It's therapy. I've been through counseling, and I've gotten over the emotional roller coaster of things. Right now, I think the one thing that's holding me back from complete success is letting people in and under, because I'm very personal. Like, I'm very introverted, should I say, and I don't like letting people know like everything I've been through. But now I'm to the point to where I feel as though I need the therapy to move on, and letting my story out there is therapy. And I've been hearing for the past year, God has been convicting me that it's time to tell my story. Like, everything He's put me through, He's lined it up. He's lined it up for me to be able to tell my story to help other people. Even my mother told me growing up, like, I used to always take other people's problems. But I think that's been happening because He put me on this earth to help other people and to understand them so I can be able to help them out. And I beat them. And when I say that, I was 22. You know, one thing that's holding me back more so is way worse than me beating death. And when I say beating death, I went through a massive blood clot. I was 5 months pregnant. My son he's 19 now, so he was like 4. And yeah, because he'll be 20 in April. So he was like 4 then. And but I was 5 months pregnant. I kept passing out. I passed out about 3 times. They kept saying I could go to the emergency room. They kept saying, "Oh, you're just dehydrated." But then the last time, my doctor was like, "No, you need to go to ICU." Kind of find out they pulled oxygen from my pulse ox. That is the worst thing ever in the world. Like, worst ever, to pull blood from your pulse ox right here. And kind of find out my oxygen level was at 62. Kind of find out I had a massive blood clot in my lungs.
Wow.
The blood clot was the size my thumb. And the doctor was like, I don't even know how you're still alive. Right then and there, I knew I'm alive because God said it wasn't my time. So I was in the ICU for 3.5 weeks. And everything in life, I look back at it because I went through a lot of my trying times by myself. I was in the ICU for 3.5 weeks by myself. Nobody there. I had one friend who came to visit me with a dozen roses. Thank you, India. But I had not even family. Like, my mother said she couldn't come because of work. I love her. Mama don't get upset. But and they had to do an antabase, which is like acid really going through my body. And all I had there was the nurses there to hold my hand. And acid to go through my home. And actually, before that happened, they kept telling me, oh, you need to abort her, you need to abort your child, you need to abort your child. And I was like, no, I'm not aborting my child. Because if it was meant for me to die, I would have died one of those 3 times. And literally in the ICU room where I had to use the bedpan to use the bathroom, I seen an angel in my right hand corner, and I knew right then and there that was God that was by my side that told me it's not time to, and I trusted in Him. I had faith, and they always say have faith in a mustard seed. And so then I just kept my baby at 5 months. We did the antabase, came out. My baby's now 16 years old. My smart child, my genius. so she was meant to be here for a reason, okay? So, but that happened right there, and I feel, but the one tragic thing that I will say that I kind of keep to myself, because I think how they perceive it, I don't care what anybody think about. That's one thing I never, but I think it's how they perceive it. I was with my child's father for 15 and a half years off and on. And I didn't have a lot of people that was there, like, by my side to help me out. Family wasn't really there. My family are good people. They just, people, But, I was with him for 15 and a half years, and he took advantage of that. He knew my situation and, stuff like that. I wasn't, So, mind you, by the time we decided, or I let him force me into believing that, okay, let's get together and whatever else. I dealt with staying with him and a lot of abuse. And I say off and on because I would leave him. But then, you know how you got that guy who's just like, he don't really want you, but he don't want nobody else to have you. And the strong-minded person I was, even my son's father was like, how are you? My son's father, when we would go places, I grew up, my mother was Amanda Holofield's personal assistant, and I grew up on it. And every time we would go over there, they would think that he was Mike Tyson.
Your son's father?
Yeah, he used to box and everything. He's big. And I'm the one with the mouth like, no, boo, 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 boo. And I'm ready to, how the hell you let somebody, like, you with all that mouth? Somehow I let my daughter's father just, like, kind of, like, dumbing me down. And all in all, in general, when me and my daughter's father decided, okay, we're going to try and, or I let him coerce me to think that he really was trying to work it out. I moved in with him. He ended up finally getting me to move in. And then I find out he's into this whole lifestyle. Polyamorous lifestyle. Okay. And he was pretty much, he has a nickname, the guard tool. So people are like, let's do it. The guard tool. What's the guard tool? The hoe. He's with the hoes. The guard tool was very very smart. I'm gonna give him his props. So he's smart as hell. You know. But I met him when I was 19. My son was 3 months old. Long story short, he was there, very manipulative. He used money to keep me. We would always kind of butt heads because I was like really, really strong-minded and stuff. You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. But yet I was still kind of like codependent on him because he allowed me to be codependent on him. So, years down the line, finally we moved in together or whatever else. It started out, now that I'm where I'm at right now, I can say it started out manipulative. I was young, I trying to get out my mother, you know, I got up from underneath my mother's wings. Like, my mom was Christian controlling, you know, but she wasn't controlling, so I say. So I left her, got on my own, and then he was like my support system. Whatever I needed, he was there for me. He was successful. He went great education. Him and his uncle had owned a couple of clubs here in Atlanta that was well known. My friends and I would get in there, have a fun time. We was under 21, and so we was getting in the club, getting drinks, having a good time, you know. And then when I decided that I wanted to, I would try to leave him and move on. And every time I would try to leave him, he would always come back. But eventually, when I got older and decided, you know, I'm ready to just like settle down. I got pregnant. Okay, let me tell you one thing about me. I've never been one to be like, oh, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man. I've never been one to dream the Cinderella lifestyle with the princess and the white picket fences and stuff like that. Because I guess because I've seen in my life, I've seen people, I've seen men, like I've always been close to guys. I've always understood men. I understood how they thought and everything. And marriage has never been like the number one priority to me. Because I never wanted to be like controlled or whatever else. And I think that may have been my biggest fear in our life. You know how they say your biggest fear actually sneaks up on you. And now that I'm talking about it. See, I told you this is therapeutic, huh?
I'm gonna have to send you my bill.
I seen he was a provider. He was a very good provider. And every woman with mine living with, I said living. Being with someone who can provide and they don't have to worry about stuff. But marriage, I always told him, because I just couldn't see him. He was a hoe. I remember a time a girl told me she's not leaving him alone until he told her, and we was living together at the time. She was not leaving him alone until he told her. Really? Okay. So, but I used to deal with a lot of females' issues with him. I remember there was a time where I found a girl that had called him, and I picked up the phone and called her. I was young and dumb, so I called her. I don't do that crap anymore. He actually came home one day. I was knocked out asleep, and then I got on the phone with my friend because I did not feel like arguing that night. And he took my phone from me and threw it across the room and broke it in half, split it in half, and told me, so now you won't call anybody again. And literally, because I really wasn't working because he was a provider, so I worked a part-time job so I could have, feel like I had my own money. He was like, now you won't call anybody. 2 days later, he finally said, I'll get your phone now. Went to a club one night. Like, there was times where I would get upset because I'm cheating on me. And he would turn around and be like, oh, here's a credit card. I got a car out one of the times. That was the very, very last time. But he knew I was dead damn serious. But yeah, I went to a club one time. I called him walking in there. I just had a feeling. I called him walking in with somebody else. Oh, that was a whole scene. And And I knew the police out there that day, so they was like, oh, on him. But I dealt with a lot of mental and physical abuse. And physical abuse, we will fight a lot, like to the point where I ain't one of the people that you can just punk. You may feel like you can punk me, but trust and believe. So we fighting. I would see blue, but I'm still up there fighting. To the point that when he got tired, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired. I don't want to fight no more. Forget it. Yeah, I might be. Don't play with me. But we was to that point. But when it finally all ended, I left him. I stayed gone. I kept our routine. I would pick up my kids, drop them off at home, do their homework, and go back to my friend's house where I was staying. I would lie to him, like, oh yeah, I'm over somewhere else, because you got to make him feel like you're doing something, you know, you're gone or whatever else. And eventually, that's how I got a car out of it, the car that I wanted. So eventually, I wouldn't forgive him in his time. You know, men who are mentally abusive, they have a sense of, and they have money and whatever else, they have a sense of entitlement. Okay? And so, because I didn't forgive him in his time, and he thought, oh, I got you a car, we got a new house now, and this and that, I'm supposed to forgive you. Just because it's 30 days and you might be counting down 30 days, that don't account for the years and years of turmoil that I went through with you. So at last he had entered, you know, I got trips and stuff for forgiveness and everything. I think that's what kept me along. I got many trips, cards, everything else. But not think I know that's what kept me along. But the last incident was like at a show and it was in public. And people around seen it, so they called the cops on him. And after that happened, he got locked up. I went to work, and as a single mother, a black mother, we know how to make things happen. We're gonna make things happen for our kids, for us, whatever. And so my kids knew kind of like the routine, like, okay, child gets home, youngest gets home, your brother gets home 20 minutes after you, make sure you get open the door, whatever. I had changed all the locks in the house. The only thing I didn't change was the garage door. I'm at work one day, I get a phone call from my friend, a close friend of mine. He called her and told her, I got Olivia talking at her, she's not getting her back until she drops the charges. And then that's when she found out that he actually had custody of her. Kind of find out this whole time I thought we was in a relationship, things were, and this guy had got up one day, went to court, told the judge that he didn't know where I was, and got custody of my child. This is before all the drama, so pretty much he had a whole plan all along. And so that's how when he went to my house when he was not supposed to be there because of court orders, he showed the cops the paperwork and got my child. I went through 2.5 years of torture. I had no money. We went to TPO court. The judge honored me. TPO made him give my car back. Kind of find out while we was in court, he actually had paid the house that we were leasing. Beautiful home and everything. He paid them off to end the lease early. Never told me. So me and my kids would have been homeless. I still had 2 other kids besides the one that he took. The ones that he actually had been calling his own kids, and everywhere he went, he said, these are my children. The ones that every single Christmas he would buy them whatever, or whatever they did. Okay. Mind you, my youngest daughter he took, I take being a parent very serious, especially after having a blood clot and me having to get myself shots twice a day for 9 months of blood thinners whenever I'm pregnant. So to go through all of that while I'm pregnant, and then you turn around and take my child away, I take that serious. My youngest daughter, like I told you, I believe in art, and I started instruments and everything at an early age. I started my youngest daughter on the piano at 4 years old. She was very talented at it. Even her piano teacher was like, oh my God. I started her at 4 years old playing the piano, and she was like me, play by ear. She could just play, I started her in the Atlanta Ballet. This man takes my child when he goes to court and pretty much portrays me as this horrible parent. Like, I love my kids to death. And I went through a lot of serious depression because of it. And I'm not gonna lie. And because I understand psychology, and my family, my aunt is a psychologist, I understood that a lot. I actually admitted myself into a hospital because of it. To me, I'm thinking, I'm trying to help myself out. I'm doing the right thing. Well, he uses that against me. Even if you go get a psych evaluation. Did everything they told me to do. Got a psych evaluation inside. The psych was like, oh no, it's the stuff that the state of mind that she's in, the stuff that she's going through is allowing her to be very emotional. Judge still didn't see that. That wasn't good enough for the judge. Even though she told me to go through, and get an evaluation and not be good. That wasn't good enough for her. For some reason, I feel as though he paid them off. I went through that. It's a lot of stuff that I went through 2.5 years of torture. The worst time ever in my life. This is the worst of the death. And I literally went through it by myself. I had no family. I had one cousin, Tiffany, and I met her in my late 20s. And to say she was there for me, I love her to this day. I don't know anything wrong with her. But I had no family there for me. No one. Going through courts, everything else. Who was in court with me? Myself and Tiffany at times. But I look back now and I'm like, everything I went through by myself. And I see this guy telling me, I need you to only depend on me and not depend on anybody else. And I just can see the positive in it. But now I've been ashamed of that for a long time. Going through that and still trying to pay attorneys and trying to figure out how to get money and not being able to do it, In the end of it, I prayed and prayed and prayed and lost my child. At the end of the day, I always think of things in a positive manner, like everything happens for a reason. This is a challenge. God wanted to see if I can just continuously depend on Him and trust on Him, and it happened for a reason. And I remember the one thing that my ex told me before all this happened. He told me, I'm about to take everything from you and show you that you are nothing without me. And that's when he took the car, the house, and my child. And now that I look back at it now, last year, maybe 3 years later, I've been without my child. I actually lost my child. 3 years later, I started my business 2 years ago, yeah. And then last year, the same car he took from me was the car that I wanted when he got it from me, that he surprised me with, and he took it from me. Last year, I was able to go to a car lot and get it for myself. I literally got in my car and I drove in that car, and I thank God, because it proved to me that even though you told me that you was going to take everything from me, I depended on God. And the same thing I told him is that he was not God. You're not my God. So you can't determine what I can and what I cannot have. And for me to be able to turn around and get that car, that same car that he took from me that I wanted, was proof that was God trying to tell me I depended on Him too much. And then the turnaround, the way that I got the car is every time I used to want to start a business when I was with him, he would always try and challenge me and tell me, oh no, that's not the way to do it. How about I'm gonna start the same business, and I'll do it this way, and you do it your way, and then we're gonna see which one is more successful. What? You're supposed to be my boo. You're supposed to be my man. Like, you're not supposed to compete with me. I expect that from the outside world. So pretty much it was like, you didn't want me to succeed, and then for you to say you're gonna take everything from me and show me that I'm nothing without you, and now everything that I went to school for, that I struggled up and down to go to school for, I was in and out of school. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, marketing just natural to me, and it was hard having kids, whatever else. But now I started my own business in marketing, and I'm helping brand other people and brand their products and brand their business. Like, I don't feel like I would have been able to do that with him at all. So it's like everything that you go through for a reason. And I always tell my friends and people, like, look at the positive stuff behind it. Like, you may be going through hell. Like, I go through hell, but at the end of the day, you ever see, like I told you, I see things in color, I visualize things. So when I'm looking at stuff, if I say, like, look at things like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I literally see a black hole, but that bright light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what I see with everything that I was, like, everything I was going through. Like, it's a huge, dark, gloomy, black hole, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And right now I'm in that light. And no matter what I go through, I don't harbor on the past, but I look at where I came from and where I'm at now. And at the end of the day, this is her brand. Her brand is her story. And your brand is always your story. Your brand is just your story. And it's up to you to be able to tell your story before you allow other people to tell your story for you. And I made it through. And my therapy now allows me to be able to do what I need to do to finish my journey and succeed. And I have entered a group where I see now I'm not ashamed, because I see like a whole, I've joined a group of people on Facebook that's like been through the same thing I went through. Like, while I was going through, I had actually had a friend that was going through, and one of my cousins had a friend that was going through it. So there's like a lot of women out here who are going through the same situation, and I feel like it's like us Black women, like we go through it worse because the system feels as though they have a thing about Blacks, but then it's like we got the Black woman syndrome. Like, everything I did everything in emails. I would send emails just to keep a journal or correspondence, how we corresponded, how he was cooperating with things. And yeah, I remember when we had that really, really bad snowstorm here in Georgia, and nobody could go anywhere. So my daughter was with me. Nobody could go anywhere. Didn't know that nigga would call the cops on me.
Wow.
Talking about I wasn't bringing her home. But we go to court, and it's clearly I could not bring her home, and they used that against me also. So that's why I say he had to pay. He paid somebody off somehow, some way. Like, let's not forget, 3 months after everything happened, he married a girl that he had just met to prove that he had a put together home, more so me. And the judge was like, I don't think anyone would just marry somebody just to show that, they have a... It's not black and white. I need you to come into reality, okay? But, yeah, the court system is not for us. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to change in the court system, especially for us as Black women, us as Blacks in general. Like, there's a lot of stuff that needs to change. And they use a lot of stuff against me. Like, who wouldn't be depressed because of that stuff? I take being a mother serious. Like, serious. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm serious about my kids, their education, their success, their everything. But as soon as he got custody of her, she wasn't in piano lessons. She wasn't in Atlanta ballet or any type of ballet. But why do you say? Because it was too expensive. But yet, you make a lot of money. You make not a lot, but you make good money on paper, and even off paper. But it was just too much. So, but I'm the bad parent, though, right? I'm the one who took her to the dentist appointment every 6 months. Doctor on regular health checks, all that stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I made it out. I made it out. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on track.
So speaking of like where you want to be, where you were, if you had to do a comparison, who was Kenyatta back then versus who you are now?
Back then, when I was going through a situation, I was, in the beginning, I was that girl. You can't tell me what to do, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, I became that weak girl. Because I allowed somebody to manipulate me and control me. And I didn't see it coming. Even though I thought I would always see it coming. But now, oh, she's back, boo. Because I was a girl who dressed, hair done, everything, and then all of a sudden I became the one that was just allowed that stuff that I went through take control over me and didn't care about how I looked and how I dressed and whatever. But now, honey, she's back. She ain't playing no games. Success is for her, and now I want to tell my story, and now I want to help others, and I want to see other females and men, but mainly females, succeed, be successful. Honey, it's the year of the woman. We're in the century of the woman, okay? We are taking over, and it's time to take over and take back what's yours. And that's where I'm at right now. It's time to take back what's yours. Understand business and be successful at it. Don't just do it just because everyone else is doing it. Do it just to be doing it. Understand it and be successful at it. Understand it and be able to retire and not have to worry and leave stuff to your kids. Like, I started my business, and my son is co-owner in my business. And as my other two turn 18, they will be on the business as well. They will own part of my business. It's a family business, and that's how it's structured to be a family business. And they may own a small portion of it, where whatever they want to go do in the future, they still know that they have some type of security or whatever. But even if they want to work in the business, they still have to work towards and show me that they want to earn more in the business, earn a higher percentage of the business. But that's my goal right now, is to help other women to be successful and to get through what they're going through and to leave something for your family. Like, my clients, my friends, it's crazy because one of my friends who don't know any of my clients call me the fairy godmother. And then I had another client was like, "You're my fairy godmother." I'm like, that's weird, And then one of my other clients recently was like, "Oh my God, you're the branding guru in the business." Because, like, if you work with me and you want me to brand you, we're gonna start from the nitty gritty, from the beginning. Okay, I ain't playing no games, because once I get you branded and whatever else, I need to know that ain't nothing gonna come up from under the clouds, under the dirts for you.
You kind of talked about how you want to help, with more women and men, but more so women. But if you had, a group of young women sitting here listening to your story right now, and either they were girls that had gone through it, or they may still be currently going through that same situation or something very similar to what you experienced with your ex, your daughter's father, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them in order to help them kind of cope with the situation and give them hope?
Every story has a light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going through it for a reason. So, as you're going through it, find the positive in every situation. There's always a positive in every situation. It's all in your mindset. It's called the law of attraction too. If you've never read The Secret, go and read or watch The Secret. You can watch it on Netflix if you don't want to read, okay? But every story has an outcome. And if you look at the positive in every story, you'll make it through it. You're not the only one that's going through it. There's others that's going through it. But find the positive in every situation, and I guarantee you, you're gonna make it out. You know, you're not alone. There's other people that's gone through it. I thought that I was alone, and I found that there is other women that's going through it. So, you know, and don't be relying on social media for stuff, because social media will make you feel like it is the biggest bullying central ever. But trust and believe, just find the positive in everything, in every situation, and I guarantee you're gonna make it out. That tunnel, envision that black tunnel, and that light bulb at the end. And that tunnel starts small, and it ends up big. And then if you notice, if you look at a tunnel of things, what is it called? Like a cone shape of things. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it, even in a tunnel, when you look in a tunnel, it looks small in the beginning when you first get into it, right? Mm-hmm. And as you're going, it looks like really, really big, right? But at the end, it's a huge light. It's a bigger light at the end of the tunnel. So even though when you start out small, you're like, how did I get here? And all of a sudden, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But then there's that light that's like a huge red light. I'm Kenyatta Gordon, and this is her brand. Define your brand before the audience defines